Let's go! Now count your score. You got a perfect score or 5? If not, don't worry, because I have a lot of prepared activities for you. In the next activity, I named this as word search. The picture I've shown to you on your screen a pool of letters. There are 5 words hidden in the word search. The word search may be found across, down, diagonally, and backward, and can overlap with each other. The hidden words are listed beneath the word search. Circle the words in the word search as you find them and cross them out from the list. And that could be done in 60 seconds. Time starts now. How do you feel? I think you're in a hurry and heartbeat palpitating in searching the words. But now it's time to check your answers. How much did you get? Nothing to worry if you did not find all the hidden words. I hope in this activity you are already warm and ready to face the essence of our lessons. Now, are you familiar with the word hazard? Hazard in Filipino is panganib or peligro. Like for example, pagsabihan ka ng mama mo na, "Anak, wag mong laruin yung posporo, mapanganib, peligro sa sunog yan." Tama ba ako? Alright, I have here a video clips. In showing this video, let us be observant. What is the video all about? And be prepared to share your insights or understanding about this video presented. Alright. As I observed the video, these following questions come up in my mind. Full of what? And these are the best questions conceived in my mind. And hoping we both together helping with to find out the correct answer. What should be the subjects of the video? The subjects of the video are people who are doing their job and the things or equipment being used. Say for instance, the tractor and the operator, driver of dump truck, and the truck being operated itself. Another one is the glass being handled by the worker. Next, when you sum up all video clips, what would talk about? The video is all about accident happen in the workplace or environment. Say for example, the dump truck happen in the streets and the explosion of electricity happen at the workstation or power station. Third, collapse at the construction field. Based on the video you have watched, what should you think the hazard mean? Hazard mean the cause of damage or accidents. Based of the event, the workers handling the glass, the cause of breaking it is the elevator. And I think you think that every event out the video clip, there is different causes. That's why, is the video happen in different places? My answer is yes. And what would be our lesson for today? Our lesson for today is about hazard in environment or environmental hazard. And now, let us implant these questions so we'll be set or driven the purpose of this lesson. Number one, why is it important to know the hazard in workplace or environment? How should we identify hazard in environment? And how does knowing the hazards ensure safety in the workplace or environment? In our environment, we have different places. We have different locations to locate. But we have one place we live, the earth. We live here with one another, which involve hazard in social surroundings. Like for example, in our country is the virus. But not just in our country, could happen in the whole world. Hazard found everywhere. In the workplace, the food we eat, at the park, everywhere. So, let us now classify environmental hazard. It classifies in 5 basic classifications. We have the category of physical, chemical, biological, ergonomic, and psychosocial hazards. In this category, the factors can harm employee are those not necessarily touching the hazard. Below are the examples of physical hazard. We have noise, radiation, extreme temperature, extreme pressure, inadequate ventilation. They are the example because, say, noise is surrounding. We all know noise, excessive sound that is unpleasant or loud that may damage our ears. Radiation, there are a lot of examples of this. I'll pick only three: sun, building, burning a candle, or campfire. I may refer to the link posted in my presentation. Radiation, according to physics, is the emission or transmission of energy in the form of waves or particles through space or through a material medium. This includes electromagnetic radiation such as radio waves, microwaves, infrared, visible light, ultraviolet, X-rays, and gamma radiation. Very high dose of radiation cause damage to human cells, as evidenced by skin burns, loss of hair, and increased incidence of cancer. Because high doses of radiation can cause cancer, it is therefore generally assumed that low doses may also cause cancer. Extreme temperature, this refers to the temperature of human being can survive. Say for example, extremely cold or freezing, and conversely of that, extremely heat or very hot. Extreme pressure refers to the atmospheric pressure. It could be high altitude, which beyond the limit of human being, or beneath the surface. Say for example, divers, which they can dive only with limit. Another example, inadequate ventilation. It results in an eventual buildup of carbon dioxide and little oxygen, which means could suffer from shortness of breath, headaches, and fatigue. Again, physical hazards are environmental factors that can harm without necessarily touching them. The second hazard in environment is chemical hazard. Hazardous substances are used in many workplaces today. Working people are discovering that they need to know more about the health effects of chemicals, which they use or may be exposed to on the job. The toxicity of a substance is its ability to cause harmful effects. These effects can strike a single cell, a group of cells, an organ system, or the entire body. A toxic effect may be visible damage or a decrease in performance of function measurable only by a test. All chemicals can cause harm. When only a very large amount of chemical can cause damage, the chemical is considered to be practically non-toxic. When a tiny amount is harmful, the chemical is considered to be highly toxic. The toxicity of substance depends on three factors: its chemical structure, the extent to which the substance is absorbed by the body, and the body's ability to detoxify the substance and eliminate it from the body. Are toxic and hazardous the same? The answer is no. The toxicity of substance is the potential of that substance to cause harm, and is only one factor in determining whether a hazard exists. The hazard of a chemical is the practical likelihood that the chemical will cause harm. A chemical is determined to be a hazard depending on the following factors: toxicity, route of exposure, dose, duration, reaction and interaction, and sensitivity. For toxicity, how much of the substance is required to cause harm? By route of exposure, how much the substance enters your body? Dose, how much enters your body? Duration, the length of time you are exposed. Reaction and interaction, other substances you are exposed to at the same time. And sensitivity, how your body reacts to the substance compared to other people. How can chemicals enter the body? Exposure normally occurs through inhalation, absorption, skin or eye contact, and ingestion and injection. Inhalation, the most common type of exposure, occurs when you breathe a substance into the lungs. The lungs consist of branching airways called bronchi, with cluster of tiny air sacs called alveoli. At the end of the airways, the alveoli absorb oxygen and other chemicals into the bloodstreams. Some chemicals are irritants and cause nose or throat irritation. They may also cause discomfort, coughing, or chest pain when they are inhaled and come into contact with the bronchi or chemical bronchitis. Other chemicals may be inhaled without causing such warning symptoms, but they still can be dangerous. Sometimes a chemical is present in the air as a small particle, dust or mist. Some of these particles, depending on their size, may be deposited in the bronchi and or alveoli. Many of them may be coughed out, but others may stay in the lungs and may cause lung damage. Some particles may dissolve and be absorbed into the bloodstream and have effect elsewhere in the body. Some chemicals are hazardous because of the risk of fire or explosion. These are important danger but are considered to be safety rather than toxic hazard. How can chemicals enter the body? Exposure normally occurs through inhalation, absorption, injection, and ingestion. Inhalation, the most common type of exposure occurs when you breathe the substance into the lungs. Absorption, there are two entry paths in our body, the skin contact and the eye contact. The skin contact, it is a protective barrier that helps keep foreign chemicals out of the body. However, some chemicals can easily pass through the skin and enters into the bloodstream. If the skin is cut or cracked, chemicals can penetrate through the skin more easily. And also, some caustic substances like strong acids and alkalis can chemically burn the skin. Others can irritate the skin. Many chemicals, particles, organic solvents dissolve the oils in the skin, leaving it dry, cracked, and susceptible to infection and absorption of other chemicals. Eye contact, some chemicals may burn or irritate the eye. Occasionally, they may be absorbed through the eye and enter the bloodstream. The eyes are easily harmed by chemicals, so any eye contact with chemicals should be taken as a serious incident. Ingestion, the least common source of exposure in the workplace is swallowing chemicals. Chemicals can be ingested if they are left on hands, clothing or bed, or accidentally contaminate food, drinks, or cigarettes. Chemicals present in the workplace are as dust, for example, metal dust such as lead or cadmium are easily ingested. Injection is the act of administering liquid, especially a drug, into a person's body using a needle and a syringe. Here are some examples of chemical hazards: welding fumes, metal dust, chemical mist, paint, primers, cleaning chemicals, and others. Biological hazard is a biological substance that poses a threat to the health of living organisms, primarily humans. Some examples of biological hazards are mold and fungi, blood and body fluids, sewage, airborne pathogens such as common cold, stinging insects, harmful plants, animals, and bird trapping. Indoor mold may be unsightly and smelly, but the potential problems are more serious than that. By definition, actively growing mold damages the material it lives on, thereby impairing structural integrity. In addition, mold is associated with some untoward health effects in humans, including allergies and infections. The presence of mold does not mean that health problems will occur. However, for some people, the inhalation of mold, fragments of the molds, or spores can lead to health problems or make certain health conditions worse. In addition, many of these molds make mycotoxin. Mycotoxins are metabolites or byproducts from the molds that have been identified as being toxic to humans. This toxin can lead to allergic or respiratory problem. In general, the most common reported symptoms include eye, nose, and throat irritation, cough or congestion, aggravation of asthma, fatigue, headaches, difficulty concentrating. Mold can also exacerbate the symptoms of allergies including wheezing, chest tightness, shortness of breath, as well as nasal congestion and eye irritation. People who are immunosuppressed or recovering from surgery are usually more susceptible to health problems from molds. For blood and body fluids, such as saliva, semen, and vaginal fluid, can contain viruses that can be passed on to other people. If you have contact with persons' blood or body fluids, you could be at risk of HIV, hepatitis B, or hepatitis C, or other blood-borne illnesses. What should you do if you are exposed? Wash your hands immediately after any exposure to blood or body fluids, even if you wear gloves. If you get splashed in the eyes, nose, or mouth, flush with water. If you are pricked by a needle, contact your doctor right away for further advice. Sewage. What is sewage? The term sewage describes raw sewage, sewage sludge, or septic tank waste. Raw sewage is mainly water containing excrement, industrial release, and debris such as sanitary towels, condoms, and plastic. Excrement is the major source of harmful microorganisms including bacteria, viruses, and parasites. Sewage treatment reduces the water's content and removes debris, but does not kill or remove all the microorganisms. Airborne pathogens such as the common cold it could be a viruses or bacteria. Take flight and hang in the air or land or other people or surfaces. When you breathe in airborne pathogenic organism, they take up residence inside you. Stinging insects have a sting at the posterior end of their abdomen. This group of insects include honeybee, bumblebee, wasps, hornets, yellow jackets, and ants. However, many ants do not have sting. A couple of species that do have stings are army ants. The sting, which is connected to a venom sac, is a modified egg-laying tube. So if you are stung, it was a female insect that did it. The North America or yellow jacket wasps are involved in about 70% of the stings to humans. They are often mistaken for bees because of their yellow and black bodies. Most stinging insects can sting you more than once. One exception is the honeybee, which has a barbed sting. When the worker bee escapes after stinging a person, the sting and attached venom sac are ripped out of the bee and stay in the victim's skin. The bee will die afterwards. Plants could be poisonous or have other nasty features, primarily because they can't move around to avoid predators. Plants have developed an array of weapons like thorns, hairs, and a lethal chemical arsenal. Secondary metabolites to wards off herbivores while remaining rooted firmly. Animals can sometimes harmful to humans. It can carry harmful germs that can spread to people and cause illness. These are known as zoonotic disease or zoonosis. Zoonotic disease are caused by harmful germs like viruses, bacterial parasites, and fungi. Bird dropping or bird poop. It is a waste matter discharged from the bowels after food has been digested. Breathing dust or water droplets containing contaminated bird droppings can lead to several diseases, including flu-like illness called salmonella, a bacterial infection that can cause diarrhea and may also be present some bird droppings.
When people hear ergonomics, they often think of this. But in truth, ergonomics is simply fitting the workplace to the worker, rather than the other way around. And that includes lots of workplaces: construction, manufacturing, transportation, healthcare. You get the idea. So today, we're going to cover some ergonomic basics that apply to virtually any workplace. These include proper posture, managing forces, and excessive repetitive motion. Ready? Let's start with posture. Sitting, standing, walking, it really doesn't matter. Proper bone and joint alignment is key. So straighten up that back, keeping ears, shoulders, and hips in a straight line. Good. Now squat by hinging at the hip. Keep everything aligned. Now sit. Perfect. Maintaining that posture through your day and work, any work, will reduce fatigue, eliminate strains, decrease stress on joints and ligaments, and have you feeling great. If posture is good, forces are evil. Why? Because they assault your posture constantly. There are lift and carry forces, grip forces, push and pull forces, and just plain old gravity. Hey, let's help you out with this. To avoid injury, don't lift, pull, or push too much. Let your posture guide you. And if need be, get help or use a hand truck or other tool. Also, move that body. If you stand up a lot for work, sit. If you've been sitting, stand up. Every change is an opportunity to realign and think about your posture. Our last Ergo 101 topic is repetitive motion. Doing the same task over and over and over and over and over and over. Well, you get the point. Repetitive motions from jobs like these can cause carpal tunnel syndrome, joint problems, poor circulation, and more. Fortunately, these injuries are easy to avoid. First, by arranging your work area to fit you and support good posture, and second, by stretching. Stretches like this, or this, or this, well, maybe not that. Every 30 to 60 minutes can make a world of difference and prevent injury. Show off. Let's recap. Ergonomics is all about fitting your work environment to you. So set up your station to support good posture. Be mindful of posture, reduce forces, and take breaks to stretch and realign yourself. Do all that, and you'll be on your way to being more efficient, more productive, and healthier.
the environmental hazards and its examples. And so you can also discuss it to your colleagues or co-workers or employees. So the following items inside the word pool are example of hazard. Classify each whether a fall under the category of physical hazard, chemical hazard, biological hazard, ergonomic hazard, and psychosocial hazard. Write it inside each category. Example, extreme temperature. It belongs to physical hazards because we know physical hazards are factors that can harm an employee without necessarily touching them. 60 seconds to do this activity. Time start now. Time is up. The correct answers are: for physical hazards, are two, the extreme temperature and explosion. We know that these hazards can harm employee without necessarily touching them. In chemical hazards, we have building fumes, paint, cleaning solution. Chemical substance are substances that can cause harm people or worker. Ergonomic hazards are improper lifting, insufficient light, poorly designed workstations. Ergonomic hazards are physical factors that can result in musculoskeletal injuries. Psychosocial hazards are carelessness of the workers, bullying, and sexual harassment. It's more fun here because we have a lot of things and challenges to be done. In our next activity, name What Am I? This activity, the following pictures are shown of a hazards in the workplace. You are going to identify or name it what kind of hazards. So we have 5 hazards in the workplace: physical, chemical, biological hazards, ergonomic hazards, and psychosocial hazards. In a flash of pictures in 3 seconds and counting of 5 seconds to write your answer in your paper. Ready? Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. Last number. How do you feel? I think you are excited now to check your answer. Number 1 is biological hazard. Number 2 is physical hazard. Number 3, chemical hazard. Number 4, psychosocial hazard. And number 5, ergonomic hazard. Who got 4 to 5? Congratulations! Who got a score of 1 to 3? Don't worry, we have still more activities to move on. To wrap up of all of our activities, hazards are something that dangerous and likely to cause damage. A thing that is cause of damage. Environment symmetrically is our surroundings. Environmental hazards it is a things in our surroundings that can cause damage us. I know that you have now your knowledge of identifying hazards in the workplace or environment. And I know that you can now discuss it with your employer, co-worker, or employee, or in any person that that thing is an hazard and you know what is the effect of that thing when you are going to do that, to do this. Say for example, you've seen your relatives not wearing a mask and face shield outside. Nowadays, you know it's time of pandemic. There is still a virus or a COVID-19 living and not yet been eliminated. Being a literate one, togetherly you discuss it with your relative, the risk of acquiring the virus. It is biological or a living organism that transmit person to person. Then tell your relatives about the safety precaution of it is a must of wearing a mask and a face shield to protect him from the said virus. So that's why it's important to know the hazard in your workplace and how does knowing the hazards ensure safety in the workplace.